joining from other parts of the world. A very happy evening to Mr. Sanjay Singh, Senior Vice President Engineering, ATMECS, our expert speaker for the evening. As you all know, Spin Chennai is almost a 27-year-old, one of the 100 spins in the world. Exclusive and dynamic spin amongst all the 100 spins in the world, not only because of the impact it has been creating through reach and the programs, but also for its consistency and relevancy with the future focus. Chennai Spin has been a pioneer in promoting various high maturity, quality and management practices, processes, frameworks, and models, including CMI 2.0, Six Sigma Lean, Theory of Constraints, BS 7799, GDPR, Agile, Malcolm Baldrige, Balanced Scorecard, Blue Ocean Strategy, 5S, TQM, ESG. So you look at digital transformation maturity, we identified this way back and as a very important item. So if you take one metric, let's say supply chain cost for India, it is at 14% of the GDP. Whereas for most countries, developed countries, it is at 8%. If this metric alone can be improved with the digital transformation, one can imagine the competitive power of a country like India. So Spin Chennai also has been focusing on the ESG as a very important theme and is leading the efforts towards integrating sustainability in the mindset of all our members and member companies. We collaborated with the Gulf-based GEC last year in bringing focus with the CXO community. So during 2022, we included this as a key focus area for submitting case studies under Watts Humphrey Awards as well. Spin Chennai's metaverse has a huge trend shaping from 2025 onwards and has already started brainstorming on the processes, policies, and frameworks surrounding this. Spin Chennai's focus on supporting Atmanirbhar through startup innovation and contribution and intellectual property filing continues with full vigor. Our steering committee members continue to play active role in shaping global standards, including CMMA version 2.0, Agile, GDPR, and others. And Spin Chennai, if you look at the recent or the next big conference from PICI, which is the Digital Transformation 7, Spin Chennai is a support partner for this conference on July 7th. The theme is around consumer electronics and telecom. Can they be the next $1 trillion export sectors for India from 2030 onwards? So, we would like you to block your calendar for July 7th. The communication will follow. In terms of our vision and mission at Spin Chennai is to build a open and world-class knowledge ecosystem, which is very compelling, highly relevant and value-adding, distinctively futuristic, and passionately co-creative. Some of the world-renowned gurus who have given guidance have visited Chennai for various sessions or done masterclass, include Dr. Watts Humphrey, who has been a close associate for more than 10 years, Louis Trigger of Israel, Dr. Bill Curtis of US, Mark Johnson, co-founder InnoSight, Jeff Sutherland, co-creator of Scrum and Agile, Michael Krigsman, the international columnist and author of CXO Talk, Professor Manu Vora, and people from Google, YouTube, Twitter, InnoSight, and more than 50 plus Indian gurus have been part of Spin Chennai and various occasions. Our ecosystem, continuously, we are expanding our ecosystem. Our email group community is more than 4,000 strong and includes who's who from various disciplines, domain experts, SMEs, thought leaders, excuse me, leading practitioners, researchers, academics, trainers, mentors, all of them. So the repertoire, they bring across various frameworks, models, and practices. Technologies include, the wild variety of things, including Python, AI, ML, DL, analytics, blockchain, AR, VR, apart from the various process models, which I already alluded to. There are 7 ways to engage with the Chennai Spin. As a member, you can become a corporate member for your company or individual member. As a event delegate, like what you are doing today, attendee of one of our training programs. We do conduct training programs, very focused training programs. You can be an attendee in that, or it could be a contestant in one of our challenges, like the What's Free challenge, which we conduct every year. You may be a faculty or trainer for one of our training programs, or you could be a strategic partner like IJTCE, who are our journal partner, who publish all the materials for Spin Chennai, or you could be a sponsor of our events or academic partner. So coming to today's topic, which is highly relevant, unlocking productivity through a meaningful relationship with ChatGPT, right? We have come a long way in terms of AI and AI chatbots. Though AI has been there since 1958, it has made a tremendous leaps only in the last few years. The simultaneous rapid enhancement power in terms of speed of processing in machines, storage, cloud, networks has resulted in new capabilities in terms of processing large amounts of data, seeing patterns, and AI being possible. Though we may had IBM's Watson, Google's chatbot, Amazon Lex having been there for a few years as chatbots, ChatGPT has really created a revolution and has stirred the market and has taken AI to the next level. If you look at the AI dynamics, it is based on 3 horizons. The horizon 1, the conventional AI, which consists of prediction, recommendation, logistic regression, classification based, rules based, and expression based. This is the conventional AI which we have been practicing. Yet the horizon 2, which is H2, is the deep learning involving higher accuracy and predictability, including object detection, speech recognition, facial recognition, entity extraction, neural networks. All these are things which are getting slowly implemented in today's enterprise. And more and more R&D is happening. It is evolving a space. And the horizon 3, which is the generative AI, that are explainable and interpretable with the feedback loop, self-learning, video insights, generative networks, AI on the edge, AI governance, including ethics. All these are part of the generative AI paradigm, where recently, of late, we have been making tremendous progress. As we interact, I'm sure there are more and more questions. While AI can be applied for certain areas, we do agree. In the last session at Spin Chennai, we saw how you can start as a AI first enterprise, right? It is not anymore a addition, or afterthought. It is about starting the enterprise itself with AI as the primary driver. So, of course, for startups and those organizations which are, in the formation phase, that would be an easy paradigm. But those who are already established, Then what is how do we transform mid-flight? Can we use ChatGPT to rapidly enhance productivity in various areas of the organization? Which are the areas and which are amenable, which are which of the functions are not amenable for ChatGPT kind of paradigm? What can one expect? So when you talk about productivity, one can think of information retrieval, content generation area, task automation, decision making, learning and skill development. These are all potential areas which we can explore from a productivity paradigm. So today's session is going to be very interesting with Mr. Sanjay Singh taking us through techniques to unlock productivity. Many a times, if you take our mobile phone, we hardly use 5% or 7% of the tool's capabilities. So if you take a tool like ChatGPT, it has got wide use. It has got so much capability that what we are doing just by raising a question, that is not the only thing. There is so much you can do with ChatGPT. That is what we are going to see today, the power of ChatGPT for various areas of the enterprise. It's going to be a fantastic session. I have listened to Mr. Sanjay Singh earlier. I had the opportunity. I'm sure it's all worth it. And without spending any more time, I would like to invite Mr. Srini, our spin executive, to introduce Mr. Sanjay Singh and take it forward. Thank you very much, Mr. Sanjay Singh, for being part of today's Spin Chennai and sharing your thoughts. Over to you, Srini.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your time, taking the time to be on the, giving a brief introduction about Spin Chennai. Now I have the, privilege of introducing Mr. Sanjay to our Spin Chennai group. Mr. Sanjay had as an experience in large organizations, and he's applying those learnings to startups, and more importantly, unlearning is what Sanjay loves to do. And Sanjay started his professional journey at Expert Software Consultants with a career spanning about 25 years. He has built passionate technical teams at some of the leading organizations in the tech domain like Microsoft, Northgate, Reno, and Rufus, and is replicating success at ATMECS right now. And Sanjay works with an objective to uncover the potential of software engineers and empower them to reach greater heights in the field of software creation and personal growth. Relentless optimism is what he believes in. And Sanjay is exploring various AI tools and especially ChatGPT to see how they can empower engineers and organizations. Now, before I pass it on to Mr. Sanjay to take over the session, I would like to quickly share a link in the chat. In the chat, there is a link that is shared. Mr. Sanjay would like, love to have all of you fill it up quickly. It might, it is the form that is displayed in the screen over here. It would just take a minute or two, so that actually helps us have an understanding of your understanding on what exactly ChatGPT is and how it would, unlock the productivity as well. Over to you, Mr. Sanjay, and we all look forward to learning more from you.
Thank you, Srinivas, and thank you, Sir Dr. Rajaram. It's really a pleasure to be on this forum. And definitely this is also special to me because at Experts, my mentors were Dr. Mukul Sinha and then Dr. Ellen Rajaram. They are my professional guru also. The form that has been submitted, if everybody can just take 1 or 2 minutes to fill it up, that would be great, because that will help us to, to see your point of view on how you look at ChatGPT, and maybe when I'm talking about it, I can actually maneuver some of those myths or facts. My screen must be visible to everybody.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it will.
Okay. Welcome to this session, and thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm sure as much as I have enjoyed in preparing this session, it is going to add, at least a good amount of value to the time that you are going to spend on this session for the next 1 hour. Let's start with the first slide. Okay. It's the end. As we are, embarking on this new, I would say, journey, we are finding ourselves at the end of a new era, or I would say end of an era, which is the end of human collaboration. We are at that place where just with human collaboration is not going to be enough for our future workplace. And although there are people who are fearing about it, it is also the beginning of a new era, and that is the beginning of human-machine collaboration. It holds an immense potential for all of us to unlock our productivity and achieve some remarkable outcomes. I see this as an important milestone in humanity, where it is the first time where the machines are not going to be just a passive devices. They are going to be quite a very active devices working very closely with the human being. And this is the first step. So I also consider myself fortunate, and everyone who are in this field at this moment, that we are at that inflection point in humanity where we are the first set of people going to interact with machines just as equivalent to a human being, and this might totally turn the entire future. This is a classic setup of a famous experiment known as the imitation game, which is also called as the Turing test. And it was devised by the brilliant scientist Alan Turing. And the goal was that there are 3 players in this test. So the player A is a machine, the player B is another human being in 2 different rooms. And then we have a human being, C, who is an interrogator. And he interacts with both A and B. And imagine a scenario where he's only interacting through that closed, a small window with the, I would say, written paper or something, responses that come through a written, format. And imagine a scenario where he's unable to now know whether this response has come from A or B. If that is the scenario achieved, then they say that the machine A has achieved almost equivalent to the human intelligence. And this is what ChatGPT has achieved. Now, as per few reports, they say that ChatGPT has cleared the Turing test. There are few people who says no, because ChatGPT says as an AI model, and he proactively says I'm a machine. So they say it has not cleared it. Now, if we remove that term, it is by design that, they want others to know that I'm a machine. But if you remove that term, in my opinion, it has cleared the Turing test. Let us assume that for time being, yes, maybe it has cleared only 80–90%, not fully. But even in that case, we are not very far away, where not just ChatGPT, but many other machines, robots, many more things in the future are going to clear the Turing test in short term. It also means that we need to have a different form of relationship with these machines. Now the question comes, why this relationship? Because normally our relationships are always either with the human beings or maybe with our pets. But how come we have a relationship with a machine? We never looked at machine as a, as a person to have a relationship. But today, if you look at AI, if you do not know with whom you're talking and you feel that that machine is talking as though it is close to your human intelligence, I feel they deserve the respect to have a equal, I would say, equal relationship equation. Just for example, maybe in the coming years, one day you come to your home, you are tired, and you just ring your bell, and the other side, the person who opens it, he is a humanoid, a robot. And he gives an amazing smile to you and he said, yes, welcome. And he takes care of you. I'm sure you'll get connected to that, whatever you call robo, or you call a machine, or you call maybe your uh, one of your friend, whatever. So this is a time where we also need to learn how to work with machines, because they are going to enter into every aspect of our life. And the way we treat many of our colleagues, our mentors, our, I would say, relatives, I think in the same form, somewhere we have to learn how to work with our machine in the same equation. And hence, when humans and AI, they work together, the possibilities are limitless, because they are not going to just come and take our job. They are here basically to complement us, just like we do. As an individual, we never built a company. It's only through a team we build a company. And I see these machines, these chatbots, these are also like, I would say like partners in those companies. Now let's look at some of the data point in productivity. Now there were few surveys and studies done. One of the study by Nielsen Norman, it says that they found that the individual who used ChatGPT, their productivity was 60% higher in terms of writing document compared to those who did not use. And then there was a survey by MIT where they found that almost there was an increase in productivity by 40%. And moreover, there was an increase in quality by 20%. There was another survey by Deeper Insights across various industries, and they found that on an average, they found the productivity to increase somewhere between 20 to 40%. And a final survey which was done for 500 Fortune 500 companies, most of the employer and the executives, they felt that tools like ChatGPT can help to increase the productivity anywhere between like 25 to 75%, which means that these are not something which are, a hype. This is a current reality. And we have to understand that this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of this, I would say, AI revolution. We can imagine what is going to happen in the next few years. So welcome to the core message of our session, which is unlocking productivity, which we have seen through that graph that yes, it is a reality through a meaningful relationship, because we should not treat ChatGPT just like any other tool. That's what my intention is, to have that meaningful relationship. And as you go through the session, maybe in the end, you will understand why this relationship is important. Now, welcome to a React model. What is this React model? This is a roadmap for embracing new technology. With every new technology, there is a hype, there are doubts, people deny it, and then we go through a different stages before we adopt it 100%. The same happens with even ChatGPT. There are resistance and people have doubt about its capabilities. People feel that it is just another tool, maybe advanced form of Google search. Some people feel that it can just write some small poems, stories. It can do maybe a simple, I would say like, a fun items, but not really something serious about it. So there is a resistance in the mindset of people. Some say that yes, it cannot even solve some simple max problem. How can it really help my business? Once you overcome resistance, you get into exploration mode where you start saying, okay, let me just play with the tool. And that is important. Once you start playing with the tool, you understand further. And this is what I've been doing for the last few months. And then you see that, yes, I think the tool is good enough. I can, start adopting it to some of my scenarios. But before you really implement it, you need to have a process that you want to follow so that your adoption is much more, I would say, efficient and effective. And then you commit to use the tool in your day-to-day life, in your basic scenarios. And we'll be seeing these scenarios in the coming slides. And finally, you move into the transformation mode where you are not just impacting your own work, but also your colleagues, your team members, and everyone around you. And that's how an organization gets transformed. So we are going to talk about productivity, and this is a very simple framework to work on productivity. I would say like how to improve about it. The first step is what? What are the things we do daily? Means on a regular basis. Yes, I create project plan, I work on technology evaluation, I hire people, I work on proposal. So there are n number of things that we do on a day-to-day basis. We need to identify them. The next step is how we are doing it today. So if I need to actually do a technology evaluation, I go through multiple, I would say like I sit with my technical team, or I go to different websites, or I do some study and research. So how I'm doing it today, or if I have to design a solution, what are the steps I'm following today? If I have to even write an email, what I do today. Once you've identified those tasks, then only you can think about optimizing or improving those tasks, which will indirectly improve your productivity. Once you've identified, you need to know which are the tasks that can be optimized, that can be improved. And once we know that either they can be automated or they can be delegated. After that, we can decide who is going to do this task. And in this case, when we talk about who, it is not just a person or a human being, it is also basically a machine AI bot. So here we can say that, yes, I've identified 3 tasks, and I can say I can give 2 tasks to ChatGPT, and 1 task I can delegate it to my junior engineer in my office. And that's how I say that, yes, when we are talking about delegation in the current time frame, I would say that, yes, ChatGPT is on par with the human being, and we have to just treat at that level. Now, I hope I'm audible to everybody and the sound is fine.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yes, thanks. So from here, we'll see few scenarios that, that we are involved on a day-to-day basis in a software organization. And we'll take a particular department and one of the core area that they work upon. What are the challenges they face in that particular task? And we'll see how ChatGPT can help them. So from here, it will be completely, I would say, like less slide and more demonstration. So the first department we are going to look at is talent acquisition. And I'm sure this is something which is important for all of you. And where one of the most important tasks they need to do is candidate evaluation. And for candidate evaluation, we need to have a good job description. A job description will help to find out the right candidate, source the right profile, and also set the right expectation with the candidate. Now, many a times I know that this is not, although it is a very critical task, it is not something, that we do it very efficiently. The second task is first level screening. When I talk about first level screening, it is about the recruiters who are directly talking to the candidates. There are many times we see that these candidates, they get rejected at the technical round at L1 level. Wouldn't it be good if at least half of them can be just filtered at the screening level itself by the recruiter? But we know the challenge. Sometimes the recruiters do not have that capability, or they do not know what to ask. And we need to see how we can actually solve this problem. The third challenge is technical interviews. How many times we face this problem where we have a candidate in C#.NET, but then my entire, the team is in Java. And when I ask them to take interview for C#, they say, we do not know how to take interviews. Or maybe you are going to hire a data scientist and you don't have anybody on the team. What should we do? In a startup, I'll tell you, we have to just move ahead and do it. Now, we have done in the past, and I'll show basically that, yes, in the past, we did a good job, not really great job. With ChatGPT, we can make it much better. Similarly, to check the coding skill of the engineers. And then finally, to understand the behavioral part. So we'll move to the demo screen. Okay, good. I think this is great. Will AI replace my work? No, 36.4%. Wonderful. And how long will it take AI to take over IQ? It may take around, yes, I think, 36% people say never. we'll see some of the answers to this question at the end. This one is important, how many hours I spend per week for self-learning, because now our competitors are not our peers, but I would say the AI bot itself is our competitor. Skills I would like to improve in 2023. Great. Productivity is something extremely important. And great. Thanks for, completing this survey. Let's move to the demo part. So we'll take this scenario, talent acquisition. Let's just try to understand how a normal user is going to do. So I'm going to share, basically what a normal user does and basically what are some of the techniques you can apply to make it better. The normal user will go, he will enter a prompt. He will say that he has played the role of a recruiter. This is known as a persona. We need to give a persona to the ChatGPT. If you give persona, it gives better results. And then we say, I would like to hire a senior Python developer with 5 years of experience in Python Flask web services. And with that, a small prompt, it does an amazing job. It gave you the JD, it gave you the responsibilities, it gave you the requirement, preferred qualification. Amazing. If you ask me, there's something, sometimes I've seen people, they take like a day to prepare a JD. Now, what will you do if you have like 20 such requirements in different fields? Are we going to actually do the same thing? We have to actually, every time create a new prompt for each skills, or is there some better way to do it? Let's look at another way to do this exercise. So this is another, prompt. And here, if you look at, I've used a keyword JD, and I say I need a senior Python developer, and I provided all the skill set in a list. So once again, it has given everything almost very similar to the previous one. But the good part, if you see, it has also gave me a job description, a JD ID 22. Now, what does it mean and where can we use it? So one of the challenge was technical screening. So what we want to do is, we want to see that can we get a set of technical screening question for somebody at level 3. And you can see the questions are here. So the parameter says that for JD 22 at level 3 candidate, give me 6 set of questions, and it has given the 6 set of questions. Now, these are the questions which maybe a technical recruiter can ask. And if you feel that, these questions are tough, you can just change the level to maybe 2, or you can even format the question. He actually gave just 1. Now, this is another problem with the ChatGPT, that many a times it forget its context, and we have to, remind it on a regular basis. Similarly, if you want to give a set of, I would say, like, let's look at coding questions. These are pure coding questions. And here it gives 10 coding questions, because that's what the parameter we gave for a level 3. And if you look at, these are all pure coding questions. Now, this is something, which is so good, because when we ask our leads to do interviews, almost most of the time they ask the similar questions. And here you can just generate as many questions as you want it. Imagine if you have to go to a college for a campus interview, you can just generate a set of questions, and you can get everything done in maybe in less than an hour. And then let's look at some behavioral question. So I've asked him to give me 5 behavioral questions. If you look at it as, this is what we ask a candidate. Now, let me just explain you those, the codes. How did that code happen? Once again, it's very, this is the prompt that was given at the start. That I want you to play the role of an AI-based talent engine, and you will have the following responsibility. 1, create JD. 2, create technical screening. 3, means I gave all the instructions. And for each of the above tasks, I said a code will be used. JD for 1, screen for 2, concept 3. And in the future task, I even told him that you have to generate a JD ID. For each JD, you have to give a code. And he started giving a code. This is how you can just write it once, and now you can generate any number of JDs, any number of screening questions, any number of technical or behavioral questions. This is another version of the same. And if you look at here, it has given it in a much more better way. So here he has formatted it well. He has given a better JD ID, and then he also gave a preferred qualification. Now, this is something what I say that we need to continue experiment with ChatGPT on a regular basis, and you'll get the thing that you need it. And then once you finalize that, yes, this is the prompt that can work, you can share it with your team. Now, if you look at even the quality of the way he gives the coding questions, it's going to be different. Yeah, here he also says the topic, and then he gives the questions. Okay, we'll move to the next department. This is about L&D. Once again, a very critical and important department, especially for the startups, where skill development is a core activity. Now, when it comes to the skill development, there are a few things we need to do. The skill assessment of engineers, rating definitions. Rating definitions are quite ambiguous in the current time, because we say somebody at a level 3, that could be different from someone else who is actually talking to the person. Then we need to create training plan, which must be highly customized, because each people have got different skills. Need to create a set of e-learning courses, and then also we need to train the individuals on the soft skills. Now, we'll see how ChatGPT can help us to do all these activities. So here I'm saying that to play the role of an L&D manager, and he's well versed in providing various types of training to engineers based on skill level. I need a training plan for a Java developer in web services Azure, and make it a 2 weeks plan. Now, once again, it does a very good job, provides everything, whatever is needed. But if I have to repeat that for maybe 20 engineers, 30 engineers, I need again a better way to do this. Now, so when we are talking about engineers, we always say that there is a junior engineer, there is a mid-level, there is a senior engineer. How do we differentiate between these engineers based on their technical skill? So I started with ChatGPT, asking him the difference between a junior and somebody with 4 years of experience. And he gave few good points. I said I need specifically for Java programmer. He gave some more good point. but I wanted some ratings. And when I said rating, I'll show you, he gave a rating in this format. So you can see here that he gave a rating very clearly for the different topics of Java, in Java, and then for junior developer and senior developer, what should be the rating. And this is again, I would say, a good job done, because you can see here for a junior, he says Java security should be at 1 and senior developer it should be 3, which is what we do at our level. Now, even we got this rating, but the problem is, what does this rating mean? This rating need to be consistent across the organization so that we can do a proper evaluation of all the team members. So I asked him a question, can you provide a value for this rating, for these 3, 1, 2, 3? And here are the metrics they generated, ChatGPT generated, but this was again a very high level. It was just for a candidate with the junior versus mid-level. Then once again, I asked him that I need for each technical topic the meaning of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he did this. For Java fundamentals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For object-oriented, 1, 2, 3, 4. For all the 14 topics, 14 or 15, he gave me a rating of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll tell you, this is something, if somebody has to go and do homework by going through Google search or books and prepare this document, I'm saying this is almost quite like a project. It's not something easily we can get it. And now, once we have these details, we can now create a good assessment and training plan for our engineers. So let's look at few things. So here I'm saying for somebody at a Java engineer at a level 2, list out few of the topics. And then I ask him for level 4, give me the topics. And you can see the difference between these two topics clearly. Then I asked that for training, I want to train some engineers on Java security and Hibernate and AWS at level 3, and I need some 12 questions around it. And group wise, category wise, he actually provides me all these, the 12 questions on Java security, on Hibernate, on AWS. And these are all coding questions. Now, this is another important part where we want our engineers to learn design patterns. Whenever we ask people how many design patterns they know, on an average, people say 3 to 5, that's all, not more than that. And most of the time, the difficulty is they have not seen it in the real world, how it is applied. So we can ask something like this, that I need a set of design pattern questions, which is applicable for Java security, Hibernate, AWS. And each question is related to a design pattern. Yeah. Now, finally, what we need a training plan. So yes, we are doing all this assessment, skill set, questions, but at the end, what I need, I got a new engineer and I want him to be trained on a specific technology for the next maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I need a very specific training plan. So let me ask. So I say training plan for somebody in the same areas at level 3. I need a 2 weeks training plan. That's what 2 stand for. Sometimes if there are issues, we can just, resubmit it. Now you can see here, it has in a table format for week 1, and for each day, it has given basically a question along with a subtask and then status. I can just share it with my engineer and I can ask them to actually track it on a day-to-day basis. In a 2 weeks, the engineer, at least he will have something which is a much more focused approach in learning, I would say like new things. Now, once again, these are all the things, the training plan. It is basically a code that was created. So you can say, yeah, we can use a code training plan with a topic, skill level, and next to perform the following tasks. And here the entire description was given. So this just shows you basically how, a simple technique can be applied, and you can just build a training assessment, a training assessment system or application. You can build a performance and goal system. You can build basically a system for your talent acquisition, maybe just with a few set of prompts. Now coming to soft skill, this is again an area which is extremely important, and most of the time we engage somebody from outside, or our HR people, they do the training, but they do not cover the real world scenarios. It would be great if we can introduce them to real world scenario, what an engineer need to actually, how he need to interact with a particular, I would say, stakeholder. So let me just give an example here. That suppose we say first day meeting with the, instead of project manager, I say maybe the Java architect. And I'm saying that, this is a training plan for John. He has a first day meeting with Java architect, how he should actually interact. So you can see here how, well, it starts like a session. It says Guru. Guru is basically the name of the ChatGPT that I've assigned him. And it says, hello, John, how are you today? And then John says, hello, Guru, I'm doing well. Thank you. How about you? Now you can imagine, if suppose this type of training is given to a fresher who comes to the organization, I'm sure he can actually pick up the, things very fast, and he will do well with his team as well with the other stakeholders. And then, this entire, imagine you are in the meeting with a Java architect, how would you introduce yourself? And here it also gives a set of feedback. Right. So you can make the, I would say, the prompt in such a way that you can say that, yes, let Guru is a trainer here. Let him give a more critical feedback. It will actually give a critical feedback. And in a very easy way, you can just create as many trainings for the, specific scenarios and prepare your team members. Now for e-learning, let's take something, means we all need to build some e-learning systems. Now let me just put a small prompt. So I asked him that, yes, summarize massive transformative purpose in less than 70 words. It did it. And suppose you are creating a training or MTP. The next step is you can go to maybe a text to speech. I think it is not allowed. Let me see if I can go. Oh, I think maybe that engine has a problem. Let me try another one. Some issue. Means the goal was we can just go to a text-to-speech engine, paste that, and your training could be, you can make a very professional training module. There are voices actually from both Indian, US, and global, I would say, people, which can be very easy for you to create a e-learning module for the team. Moving to the next group, which is L&D team, engineering team, where the focus is on building software. And there are few areas where we are engaged on a day-to-day basis, maybe on technology evaluation. That's an area where we have to do a lot of research, then writing the code, doing code review, performing code refactoring of the code, and then data generation. Now, I know there are many other areas, but I've just taken 5 of the areas, and we'll see how ChatGPT can help in these tasks. So let's look at one of the scenario here, and we'll see. So I'm saying that as an AI that is specialization in recommending IT solutions, I need some best server monitoring tools and practices for a web application hosted on AWS. And then I provided my application tech stack. And it gave me a set of options. It gave me the tool Amazon CloudWatch, APM, database monitoring, log management, infrastructure management. For each of these areas, it has given me a set of tools. Now, what I want to do for each of those options, I need some open source alternatives. So I gave this as a prompt and I asked it to put in a table. And here you got the details. For each of the recommended tool, it has given an open source alternative. And then you can go into deep. You can say that yes, give me a pros and cons of Apache JMeter. It can give you pros and cons. And the more you want specific information, you can dive deeper into specific tools. And then you can even ask how to install it, how to set it up. Imagine doing all this in the current scenario without ChatGPT. One has to spend a good amount of time. Now let's look at a code development scenario where it is like implementing a bookstore API. So in a normal scenario, we just, what happens with ChatGPT, most of the people, they just go and ask a question, implement a bookstore RESTful API node, and it will do a job there. You can see it has created the code. But it has created based on a few assumptions, just a basic, I would say like it is a basic code that has been created. And since we have not provided any other details about maybe the server or some applications that we want to use, or maybe the framework. Now, what a professional developer need to do it is, a professional developer will go to something like this. This is a prompt. He is giving the specific details of the web service, the service name, the service time, the API framework, the language, authentication and authorization, the data storage, and then the endpoints, and then some of the details about how errors should be handled. Now you can see the difference between this and the previous one. The error handling is much better. In case it stops, we have to just say continue generating. This was a feature they introduced a week back. So you can see the quality of code that was generated in the new prompt versus the previous prompt has been different. And this is where prompting is important. But once again, it missed a part. I think it missed the authentication and authorization. So we have to ask him. then it generates it with the authentication module. Now, no matter, how well actually it generates the code, it is still the developer responsibility to take the code, review it, and then, use it in their application. At the end, it is our responsibility. And here is a format that I'm talking, I'm showing about code review. So I pasted a code which was like, using a open AI API, and then it gave few comments on the code. Now, can we improve this code comment? Let me just try with another version. Now, here, if you look at the prompt is changed. I'm saying that you are a code reviewer and you have to adhere to the clean code principle. You have to follow PEP8 style for Python and good design practices. And then I gave few more inputs, and I have given the same code. We'll see the quality difference. Compared to the previous case, if you look at it, here he just gave 6 issues. But whereas in the new one, he has given like 13 issues. He has put the keywords properly in bold, and then he also has done the revised code. Sometimes he writes it, sometimes he doesn't write. In case you want it, you can just ask it. Now imagine this scenario in the current, time frame without using ChatGPT. Once I write the code, I give it to my lead. The lead will take some time. He will review the code, get back to the original developer. He again fixes the code, and then it goes for the testing. Now here, if you see in one shot, the code was reviewed, the code was fixed, and I would say like the entire task was done maybe in less than few minutes. But again, it all depends upon the way you are using the prompt. Let's look at data generation. So here is a data set for lung cancer, and this is the data set. You can see it. The data set consists of few attributes: gender, age, smoking, and assume that we want to test this. So for that, we need to generate test data. What we can say? I just pasted that and I said that I needed 20 rows test data. And you get the test data. Oh, it didn't give me the entire data set. The good part with ChatGPT is that yes, you can ask him as many times as you want. When it stops, you need to just ask and it continues. So I just stop it because then I can, at one moment, only one window can be active. Okay, so another option could be I can ask it to generate a Python code to create anonymized data for the same data set using Faker library. And I also said include ID, first name and last name. And now my entire Python code was created. So I can just use it and create as many data I want it. Since we have time constraint, we'll just move to the other, but you can even do a code factoring. You can just provide an entire code and it does very good code factoring. I'll not run it. I'll just show you. I think this, you can see the same, the code that I gave earlier, which was, I would say, like a, one main function with almost like 40 lines, 40 or 50. And what it did, it actually created multiple methods, extracted the method, and did a good code factoring. So this is also a good way for people to learn good design practices. Okay, we'll move to the next aspect, which is about project management. This is something what Dr. Rajaram asked me last time. Are there something related to project management? I thought, okay, let me add a few things here. So some of the activities that we are involved in project management are statement of work preparation, working on the backlog items. Project management, I'm just mixing project/product management, creating user stories, doing risk management, and also creating process documents. So we'll just see a few scenarios here, how ChatGPT can help. In this scenario, I'm taking spinchennai.org website. And what I'm saying, I need a detailed insight on the website, the performance, and what can be done to improve, summary of the website SEO and related stuff. Now, if you see here, it is using a plugin. This is a feature of ChatGPT 4, where plugins are enabled. So the moment I said, website performance, it knows that. And since I have enabled the website performance at the start, here is the plugin. You can see enabled plugin and website performance and SEO. It knows that it has to use the website performance, and it then goes through it, goes to the website, does all the analysis, and provide the detailed metrics. In case if it takes time, we'll stop it and we'll move to the next. But just to give you an example here, I've already run it. So it used two web plugins, website performance and SEO core AI. These were the two plugins. And then it did a performance metrics. It gave few metric data, performance scores, opportunities for improvement. And then SEO analysis was done for it. So this is what I got. What is the next step? I want to create a project based on it. Let me just stop it to save time. I said, okay, based on the report and suggestion, I want to improve the website. Okay, let me see whether it can refer to the previous one. Yeah, it has taken the data from the previous run and it is creating a scope of the work. So in one place, I have done an analysis and then immediately I say, okay, we need to convert it into a project. For that, we need to define a scope of the work. ChatGPT is helping us to do that part. Once you have done this, the next step is to create backlog items. So let it finish and it also gave an estimation. Now you can customize this entire document depending upon your requirement. If you want to include a few other sections, you can just tell it to ChatGPT and it can include those things. You can put your assumptions there. Now, let's say that we want to create a product backlog item. And then I'm saying that he need to generate a reference ID for each item with PB1, PB2, product backlog item 1, 2, 3, and put it into a table. Now your product backlog item is getting ready based on the SOW. The next step is to create user stories. So what we'll do, we'll not go through the entire product backlog item. We'll just take maybe, a 4 or 5 or 10 user stories, and we'll ask it to create a user story in a proper format. This is ChatGPT 4, which is slower than ChatGPT 3.5. So I'll just it has created 20 product backlog item. What we will do, we'll just say that maybe for 10 items, or we'll just keep it to 5 items. Write user stories and once again put it into a proper format. And it follows the correct user story format. You can see for each product backlog, somewhere 2 user stories. He's creating 2 user stories. You can even say that I need at least 4 user story for each product backlog items, and it will create so many stories. It created for the 5 product backlog item. Next, you'd like to create a risk plan and a RACI matrix. This is always a good practice that whenever you are asking to create a specific table, you suggest him to use a particular ID so that you can refer to that ID in the future prompts, like R1, R2, R3, or if you want to refer to US6, US5 or a PB, you can always refer it in the future. Once again, this is a very good way to train somebody in new, a person who is entering into project management or becoming a scrum master or product owner. He can understand basically what are all the type of risk that is involved, and then, the risk score, and then RACI matrix. And again, this has been given with a very I would say at this moment only with some basic information. If you want something very highly, specific to your project, you can customize as much as you wanted it. Here he has included SEO specialist, although, I did not mention anywhere in the project. Then you want to create a set of checklists that need to be adhered to ensure that the project is successfully executed through Scrum methodology. So for each phase, because if I don't mention him about the Scrum, he's just going to give me a standard waterfall, I would say, checklist. Let's ask finally that. let's assume that the team performed 70% of the task for sprint 1 because there was estimation error, unplanned leaves, and unavailability of third-party APIs. So we want to do a retrospective report that can be shared with someone. Now, I asked him to just generate a report. And this template was created in an earlier prompt.
And then maybe we could also do some questions and then come back to you.
Excuse me?
No, we can also do a couple of 2 or 3 questions that can be answered.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, definitely. Maybe let me just finish this personal development, the final one. It may take another 5 minutes, and then we can get into question and answer. Is that fine, or
yeah, that's very much fine.
Okay, yeah. So you can see that now the entire your retrospective meeting was prepared. Let's move to a final session, I would say, like here, where it is more about personal development. We all want to improve on a daily basis. This is for personal fulfillment, also to work on our hobbies. And for that, we need to automate tasks, we need to accelerate our learning. We will be, we need somewhere to, work on creative stuff. And I'll give few examples here that can be helpful. And then we can move into question and answer. So let's assume this is a video about maybe 20 shocking facts about OpenAI.
OpenAI is one of the fastest growing companies in the world. Yeah.
And I don't have time to go through the entire video, but I liked it. So I thought, okay, why not create a blog out of it? So the manual process is I go through it, I check the transcript, I copy paste it, then I copy paste into the prompt, and I say that, yes, now create a blog. That is one way of doing it. The other way is, can I just, have a program to do it? So let me just show here. What I do, I go to a terminal. I don't know whether this terminal might not be visible, I think. Okay. Just a second. I think my terminal is not, being shared. Okay, I'll just show you what I did. So I wrote a Python program. The Python program goes to the particular website, the YouTube link, and then it downloads the transcript and break it into different chunk. The reason why it need to break it into different chunk is because at one moment you can only enter like around 2000 to 2500 words in the window. So if you have something which is more than that, it is, it is required to break it. Otherwise, ChatGPT is not going to take it. And once I do that, I ask him to create a blog. So I write a prompt. And then I asked it to write the block based on the chunk that he received. Here I just pasted one chunk. So this entire process can be automated. If you use open AI APIs, then yes, that will also cost you. But on the other side, another option is you just write the Python code which can generate this entire chunk and paste it and just use those, your whatever function macro that you can say this, like I created write block, new block, and then it is giving me entire, the point that we discussed in the YouTube video. So in this way, I have I normally any video that I like it, I just create my own, I would say, material and use it for future reference. This entire chunk creation itself was a project. I would say I'll show you. Yeah, this is a code which I asked. So if you ask me, even the code to do that chunk, creating those chunks, downloading it from the YouTube, interacting with the YouTube, for that I use ChatGPT. I gave it the prompt very clearly that it need to create get transcript, save transcript, and create chunks, and gave the instructions properly. After that, I also asked him that if he has anything to ask me before answering, he can ask me those questions. He did it. And then he gave me the entire code. And I just use this code, and from there onward, I'm able to download any, I would say like the YouTube transcript and convert it into a very professional blog. So if you look at, there were 20 points and it is able to actually work on it. I think it missed few things here, but yeah, that happens. I want to just talk about one more AI tool, which is Perplexity. This is again similar to ChatGPT and Bard. And you can ask a question. So let me just ask a question. Do you know what's Humphrey? Now here, if you look at one thing that is good is it also gives me the follow-up questions. 3 follow-up questions, and I can just click one of the follow-up questions and it will start answering, which is again a good way to learn things, because in regular prompt you have to always ask new questions, but here it will be something which will be more relevant to the question that you have asked earlier. Can we do that in ChatGPT? So here again, I said the same question. I said, do you know what's Humphrey? And he says yes. And he talks about PSP, TSP, and CMMI and other details. And you can see, yes, it again asks a set of possible questions. So we are able to replicate what happened with, Perplexity, how it was given. And I can just say that, yes, give me some detail about 5. And then it goes into detail. It tells about the awards that Humphrey got. And again, he gives me a possible question, and this can just go on. Now, this entire thing, it was just done with a very simple prompt technique, where it was said that whenever you see Guru, you'll be provided with most suitable. No, just a second. I think I have to. Yeah, I think I said whenever you see Guru, you'll provide most suitable answers. You'll focus on the specificity of the questions. At the end of the response, you'll provide 5 possible questions in numbered list for the given response, and I can choose one of them. So with that simple technique, I can just, now continue to have a conversation with ChatGPT on any topic, and it will actually provide me the follow-up questions. I know since we have less time, I want to just, focus on a creative part. This one was this, I just did it yesterday. And here the topic was, I said, Buddha is in a meditative position, and then he's connected to the universal intelligence. But Sam Altman, who is the CEO of ChatGPT, he want to convince Buddha about how ChatGPT can help humanity. I wanted them to have a conversation. So this is just a way to, see that how interaction can happen. And you can see there could be a conversation between them, Sam and Buddha, and they'll be talking, and they will talk based on, whatever their materials are. Buddha will be talking more about the humanity, compassion, and other things, and Sam will be more focused on how AI and AGI can help the humanity. You can write new poems. You can even rewrite actually the stanza of an existing song. So if there is like one of my cousin who just recently, he directed a movie on Netflix, and he got an opportunity now to actually work on the part 2 of the movie. I asked him to send me the song script. He sent me the song script. I just took it. I said, ChatGPT, the new song has to be created, but based on the same emotions and the tone, and it was able to generate the new set of stanza for that song. So there are few other demos, but I think, just because we have already, close to 8 p.m. So maybe we'll save some time for question and answer. And after that, maybe I can continue with my, I would say the slides. I've got another 2 more slides. So would you like to, leave it for question and answer first?
Yeah, anybody has any questions? You had one question.
Yes.
I think we're not able to hear you properly.
Yes, I'm not able to hear. No. Otherwise, let me just complete the PPT, maybe another 2 more slides. It will take 2 minutes. So here are some of my views on facts and myths about ChatGPT. One question that people ask me, whether should we buy ChatGPT Plus, should we use the subscription one, which is $20 per month, or is the 3.5 is better? Now, from my point of view, ChatGPT Plus definitely have advantage. It gives better output. It remembers the context, much longer compared to 3.5. But there is a limitation. You can only send 25 prompts every 3 hours. So that is one limitation. Also, it is much slower than ChatGPT 3.5. But the biggest advantage you get with GPT Plus is you get access to all the plugins. You can even get access to the web browser plugin, through which it will connect to the internet and it can give you the latest data. Whereas in 3.5, you only get data up to September 2021. So my suggestion is that people should use ChatGPT 3.5 for maybe 2-3 weeks. And once you are comfortable, you find that it is giving value to you, you should switch to ChatGPT Plus. The second one, people said, yeah, it cannot even solve simple maths. On the other side, it has actually cleared most of the other exams, whether it is a bar exam, law, or it is a medicine exam. Now, the problem is, I would say it is by design. ChatGPT was designed basically on the large language model, which is more text-based model. It was not designed actually to solve maths problem. However, there is a solution to that. There is a plugin, Wolfram, and many other plugins will be there. When you use that plugin, it can solve any of the math problem, even if they're quite complex. Now, it will never surpass human IQ. And I think this is where even the survey, most of people said that it might never surpass human IQ. As of now, people say, hello?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. As of now, the ChatGPT IQ, which has been measured across various universities through some scientific method, they say that its IQ is somewhere between 85 to 155. And average human IQ, a good level is around 90, which means that it is definitely on the lower side, maybe 85, 5 point less. But on the other side, if you see it, it is already ahead of most of the human. And this is something which is improving on a day-to-day basis. A ChatGPT IQ or problem-solving skills, within 2 weeks, it is able to actually score much, much higher compared to what it scored 2 weeks earlier, which means its IQ is also improving. Now, there could be, I would say like debate around it, but in my opinion, considering that ChatGPT 4, which is just maybe 3-4 months old, if it is improving on a day-to-day basis with the speed at which it is going, in the next few months, it is definitely going to surpass most of the humans' IQ level. It gives incorrect data. Once again, when it says incorrect data, it is basically the concept is known as hallucination. And that is by design, because it is a generative model. It tries to regenerate or predict the next words. So it creates. So if you ask it to create a poem, it will create it. If you ask it to even, say that I need a command to convert a PowerPoint to image, even though that command does not exist, it will give with full confidence. Now, that is by design. It depends upon how we are asking him and what questions we are asking. But it also means that I still need to own the outcome of it. So I should not blindly just take the data from ChatGPT, whether it is a code, whether it is a command, whether it is a written document. I should verify it myself before using it in my professional or any other work. Will it replace me? Again, no person can replace another individual. That is true. What we really replace in the professional world is our skills. And if I do not improve my skill, it is very much possible that ChatGPT can easily replace me in that position. So I can say that we have to use ChatGPT to upgrade our skills, to use ChatGPT to improve our productivity and increase efficiency, so that we can, be still very valuable to the organization. And this is where we can say that AI is not here to replace me, but to redefine my expertise. And finally, what are some of the action items that we can, take from this session? We will revisit the React model, where we said that for any technology adoption, there is a resistance. So the first step is mindset, the mindset of acceptance. This is one technology where I suggest people that you accept it first. Rather than, doubting it, denying it, it is better to accept it. Once you accept it, it is easy to get into the next phase, where we need to create a discipline of using it daily. At least 1 to 2 hours, people have to use it. It is just like any other, I would say, system where if you have to learn something, master or understand someone, you need to spend time with it. And it has to be through a disciplined process. Create your own set of process. Like whenever I generate prompts and I see these prompts are useful, I create, a document. I list all my prompts in a central place. And then I have a techniques actually where I can, now I know that, yes, when I'm creating a table, I need to have a table ID. If I'm creating a blog, I need to do XYZ. So it is always good to have a process. One complaint that people say about coding is most of the question, answer that ChatGPT gives, it doesn't work on my system, or it gives error, and there is too much of time spent on it. The reason is, again, if it is by design, because ChatGPT gives us responses based on September 2021 data point. So what I did, I looked at what was the Python version in September 2021. It was 3.9. Current, I think, is 3.11 or 13. So in my system, I have set up an environment which is actually on 3.9. It is running 3.9. And then when I take the code from ChatGPT, it works perfectly well because it is compatible with the package. So you need to set those processes in place. Then every day, think about in what area you can implement it. Like we covered a few set of scenarios, and there can be those scenarios are something which you will be coming across, and many more scenarios. You have to just see that how you can implement it. Every day you have to use this tool. And when you share with others, it can actually accelerate, I would say, like the entire organization. And remember that there are no perfect prompts. Even though I've given some prompts here, the techniques I spoke, but there are no perfect prompts, and we as a user owns the outcome of it. Create experiment, that is the only way for us to use it more effectively.
Thank you for joining me today on this extraordinary adventure. May your future endeavors be filled with creativity and a profound sense of purpose. Together, let us continue to unlock the doors of productivity and shape a future where human potential knows no bounds. May your journey be filled with endless inspiration.
This message was written by ChatGPT, and it was, I use 11 labs to create the voice. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic presentation. Very, very insightful. Maybe I would like to request.
Thank you, sir.
Dr.
Thanks a lot for your time. So, yeah, sorry, sir, please.
To the closing comments and also propose vote of thanks on behalf of Chennai. Dr. Ellen Rajaram, please.
Sir, we have a few questions.
Yeah.
Do we
Yeah.
take that before? Yeah.
Yes.
You wanted me to tell something, Rajaram?
Yes, sir.
I
Your
couldn't
comments,
hear you properly. So
Yeah,
first
you
thing,
were-
yeah.
Please go ahead.
No, the first thing is, I don't know how many people know that today's paper says that Sam Alton is in Delhi meeting the Prime Minister.
Yes, he's there.
So did you mention that, Sanjay?
No, I didn't mention. I read it. Yesterday I saw his interview on the ET Times. Yeah.
Yes. So that if Prime Minister is giving him so much importance, that kind of translates to the importance of the ChatGPT itself. So that is a great thing. And secondly, of course, ever since I have heard Sanjay a few weeks back, I have been using ChatGPT, and anything from asking it for a suggestion for my US business model to making out what should be a delivery process, the company, to writing a poem for a neighbor who has just completed 70 years.
Yeah.
I mean, the imagination, it is total, there is no limit to it. So it's your imagination that can inspire ChatGPT to do everything that you want it to do. So this is my message to the people who are listening to Sanjay, and I hope you all enjoyed Sanjay's talk. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And let me answer to a few of the questions that came in the chat window.
Okay.
So there was one question by Venkat Ramakrishna. Could you elaborate on its role in the healthcare disease management? Just to show you one example, let me see here if I have got it. I tried something. So you can create a complete, I would say, like I did something like a blood test analysis. And I'll see if I can show that, experiment, the data point. I think maybe it is in another chat window. But yes, you can do a lot in healthcare. Just to give you a scenario, like 3-4 months back, I was, just at home on a leave, and I thought, why not, understand about anti-aging and longevity. And I started reading books around DNA and the genes. And it was hard for me to understand it. I went to ChatGPT and I started asking questions around it. It was such a wonderful experience for me to go through, the material from ChatGPT. Plus, I also asked him to actually build a application that can help us to actually do an analysis on the blood analysis report. So you can see here, actually, I made a name as Rakta Shakti, and it was ChatGPT who gave me that name. And the goal was like, just I can take a PDF of my blood sample report and upload it to the application, and it can give me the at least a preliminary analysis to show me like whether I need to be careful on few of the things in future, along with precautionary measures that can be taken. So it's a very simple, I would say like scenario I've explained, but you can actually do many things depending upon your imagination. And people are using it. The next question was, will it ramp down resources in an organization or in project full-time employees? This is a question, if you ask me, possible, but on the other side, I also say that it can actually create immense opportunity, because now if you are getting a project, you cannot really say no, because you have a way to actually go and understand. Even if it is something which you have never done in the past, you can just go experiment and come back with double confidence, and you can actually get the project. So I see this as a more positive way. Yes, as I said, it cannot replace people, but it can definitely replace the human skills. So if in my organization, I say people that means a 5-year, a 10-year person, for them, the competitor is not somebody else, another 5 year, but maybe a college graduate who has been using ChatGPT for a year in his final year, he could be a competitor to somebody who is a 3-4 year guy.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. And somebody asked to share the prompt document. I'll see if I can, just I'll share with, I'll create a shareable document and do it. And final question, any inputs about challenges in leveraging ChatGPT at workplace, please? Yes. We have to understand our customers. There are few customers who might not really would like us to, use ChatGPT. So we need to be careful about it. And but if it is a startup, if you're a new organization, I think, you can definitely be free to use it. But again, it depends upon your stakeholders. At the end, we still own the code. So we don't want somebody, in my view, AI only amplifies what we are. If I am a good developer, I'll become a great developer by using ChatGPT. If I am a lazy developer, I'll become one of the worst developer in my organization. That's all. Those were the questions.
Sure. Great. So thank you, sir. Thanks for taking the time. I hope, everybody loved your insight. So we all got a newer perspective in terms of using ChatGPT. From tomorrow. Probably we'll try to implement most of these in our day-to-day activities, in our project plan and everything, starting from the who, what, how, which, and who, and all the other various different formulas and processes through which how we could create a newer persona for ChatGPT that actually gives a newer angle in terms of using the entire ChatGPT itself. So thanks a lot for taking the time. I know it's just way past 8 o'clock. So thanks for being patient enough to answering everyone's questions, and thanks for taking the time. And it was an absolute pleasure having you with us at the Spin Chennai session today. And thanks to Dr. Eleanor for referring you, and thanks to Dr. Rajaram for putting this up everything today. Thanks.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks.